A warm welcome to everyone. Myself, Tanya is from the Department of Computer Science and Engineering, Artificial Intelligence. I am from Sri Venkateshwara College of Engineering, Bengaluru. So today's subject is about operating systems. The topic is types of system calls in operating system. The first one is introduction to system calls. System calls are functions provided by operating system for applications to request services. System calls are used to interact with hardware devices, manage files, allocate memory, and perform other essential tasks. Examples of operating systems that support system calls include Windows, Linux, and MacOS. These three are the main system calls which support the operating systems. Then system calls are functions provided by the operating system for application to request services. So this is mainly, it is the main application to request the services here. So it is used to interact with hardware devices and manage files, allocate memory, and perform other essential tasks. The first system call is process control system calls. Process control system calls allow applications to create, terminate, and manage process. Examples of process control system calls include fork, execute, and wait. These system calls are used to create new processes, replace the current process with the new one, and synchronize process respectively. So this is mainly used to create new process, replace the current process with the new one, and synchronize the process respectively. So we can learn the examples with detail. So the example is Linux. The process control system calls example is mainly Linux. First one is fork. It creates a new process by duplicating the existing process. So it creates one more duplicate where we have to work on it. Execution replaces the current process with the new processes, loading a new program into a memory. Third one is wait. Suspends the execution of the current process until one of its child processes terminates. The next process is file management system calls. File management system calls provide mechanisms for creating, opening, reading, writing, and deleting files. Examples of file management system calls include open, read, write, and close. These system calls enable applications to perform operations on files such as opening file, reading its contents, modifying the content, and closing the file. So file management system calls are mainly used to perform operations on file such as opening the file, reading the file, and modifying the content in it and closing the file. The examples are, the examples are mainly in Windows. So it create a file, opens or create a file, returning a handle that can be used for subsequent operations. The next one is read file, reads data from file into a buffer. Next, the write file, writes the data from buffer to a file. So this is the process how file management system calls are done. The next one is device management system calls. Device management system calls allow applications to interact with hardware devices. Examples of these device management system calls include read, write, input, output, control. So these system calls facilitate communication with devices such as printers, network interfaces, and disk drives. So these device management system calls are mainly used for with the device such as printers, network interfaces, and disk drives. So device management system calls allow applications to interact with hardware devices. Device management system calls examples are macOS. So in that reads the data from the device into a buffer. It write data from buffer to a device. So IOCTL, it means input output control, sends control commands to a device allowing custom operations. The next one is communication system calls. Communication system calls enable inter-process communication and network communication. Examples of communication system calls include socket, connect, and send. So these system calls facilitate communication between process on the same machine or over network. So these system calls facilitate main in communication between the processes on the same machine or over the network. So communication system calls enable inter-processing communication and network communication. So it processes mainly two communications where it is inter-process and network. So the example of this communication system is Linux. Socket creates a new communication endpoint such as network socket. Connect, it establishes a connection to a remote network address. Send, sends data over a network. These three are the steps which is included in communication system calls. Next one is memory management system calls. Memory management system calls provide mechanisms for allocating and delocating memory. Examples of memory management system calls include malloc, free, and mmap. So these system calls enable applications to request memory from the operating system and manage memory resources efficiently. Mainly memory management systems are used in applications to request memory from the operating system and manage memory resources efficiently. So memory management system calls provide mechanism for allocating and delocating the memory from one place to another place. Memory management system calls examples are Windows. There are three steps to be included in it. Virtual alloc reserves or commits a region for virtual memory. Virtual free releases a previously allocated region of virtual memory. Virtual protect changes the protection attributes of a region of virtual memory. These three are the steps were included in memory management system calls. Error handling system calls. Error handling system calls are allow applications to handle errors and exceptions. Examples of error handling system calls include P error and string error. So these system calls provide information about the causes of errors, assisting in troubleshooting and debugging. So it is mainly used to provide the information about the cause of errors and assisting the troubleshooting and debugging. So error handling system calls allow applications to handle errors and exceptions. This is the main thing which is used in error handling system calls. So the examples like P error prints a descriptive error message to the standard error output, and the string error returns a string describing the specified error code. So in error handling system, errors are mainly noticed and handled. The next one is time system calls. Time system calls provide access to time-related information and functions. Examples of time system calls include time, get time of the day, and sleep. These system calls enable applications to retrieve the current time, measure elapsed time, and introduce delays. So this is mainly used to retrieve the current time, measure elapsed time, and introduce delays. So it provides an access to time-related informations and functions. The functions of these are macros. Time returns the current time as the number of seconds since January 1, 1970. Get the time retrieves the current time and time zone information. Sleep suspects the execution of the current process for the specified number of seconds. The next is the last part, the conclusion part. System calls are essential for applications to interact with operating system. Different types of system calls provide access to various functionalities such as process control, file management, and device interaction. Examples of system calls vary across operating systems but serve a similar purpose. So among all these examples of system calls, it across in the operating system but serve the similar purposes and work on it. So different types of system calls provide an access to the various functionalities such as process control, file management, and device interaction. So it interact with operating system applications. So thank you one and all for this wonderful opportunity. Thank you everyone.